Welcome to the Globetrottin ADs. This podcast is for you, athletic directors, activity coordinators, coaches, and program associates based in international schools around the world. The Globetrottin ADs is proudly hosted by Nick DeForest from the American International School Vienna and Matt Fleming from the American International School of Budapest. Here they are now, Nick and Matt and the Globetrottin ADs.
Okay, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Globetrottin ADs. Today, we're continuing on with our series highlighting different sections of the latest NIAAA, National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association course, specifically geared for international athletic directors. That's 910. It's the latest course. It'll be piloted later this year. And today we're talking with our guests, Todd Parham from American Community School of Amman, Jordan, Chris Bishop, the AD at the American School of The Hague, and Mike Deneef, the Activities and Athletics Director at the American International School of Dhaka in Bangladesh. So we're happy to have them here today to give us a little more information and the breakdown of their section of this 910 course. And their section is about inclusion versus competition. So lots to cover in that department. How can both exist and how should they exist? Before we dive into that, though, we're going to swing it over to Nick in Vienna. Nick, you are in the closet there, your uniform room, I see. I hope it's nice and quiet for you there today.
I am in the uniform room surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of kukri uniforms. Shameless plug there. But yeah, just down the hall from my office. But glad to be with 4 different cities here. This is rare. We have 5 of us all on in different cities, which is awesome that we can all continue to get together and find time for this. And I guess the 3 of you guys all were on the very first episode from the NIAAA conference way back, just saying a bit about yourselves. But since then, only Mike's been on, right? So the first longer time to have Chris and Todd. So welcome all 3 of you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick and Matt.
All right. Well, hey, Matt gave you the intro. This is our 5th out of 6 for this series. We kind of have the same set things. So first, we want to hear what are the main sections of this course you guys have written.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I'll start, and then you can jump in a little bit. We'll start slow, and we'll build to a crescendo as we go along.
Perfect.
It's funny. 3 ADs here that spent a lot of time working together in Shanghai. I think we saw what happens with this issue expand out in different places, and we've had lots of conversations about it. So we're really happy to bite into it as a course. And basically, what we're looking at is trying to help athletic directors look at their programs and identify where they are in terms of the competitive inclusive scale and how they can make their program fit everybody so that you're not excluding one or the other and it still keeps moving along.
Good thing to have. And how did you divide the course, Todd?
We divided it up into basically 3 different parts. They're kind of our course objectives. Mm-hmm. We wanted to make sure that people understood the difference between inclusive programs. And we're not talking about inclusivity like with racial or disabilities and things like that. We're talking inclusivity with regards to including as many people that want to be included in the program can be a part of it, multi-inclusive, and versus a competition. And most schools fall somewhere along that continuum. You're usually not just one or the other. You're somewhere in the middle. We wanted to make sure that people understood the pros and cons of the different ones. And there's no, one thing we've got to make clear is that there's no right or wrong international athletic type of structure. We got to make sure we understand that. And the second one was we wanted the ADs attending our part of the leadership workshop is to understand where their school actually falls. They need to know that, and then give them the tools to develop other areas. So if they're really, really competitive and they want to build more than multi-inclusive, we want to help give them the tools to do that.
That's great. I think you hit it right. We're not all one way or all the other way, right? Between, let's say, our varsity teams and our middle school teams, there could be differences in the same program.
Yeah. Now, how do you strike that balance of wanting to have that competitive program, but also have an inclusive situation as well? Because you're going to have a variety of reasons kids want to participate in the sports program, depending on their level and their experience, in middle school and in high school. So, what can you offer them that can strike that balance in your school? And I think it depends on a lot of different factors, which I think we can talk about right here. Just thinking of my situation here in Budapest, we're lucky in that we have wonderful facilities. So we have the capabilities offering a lot of different things depending on the day, depending on the season. Beginner tennis, for example, versus the advanced tennis group, we're able to offer that. So that's great for kids who want to just try tennis and haven't done it before. There's an opportunity for them to do that. And a lot of times we have the CAS angle. I don't know if that's a situation in your guys' school where kids want to come out for a sport team specifically to get their community service hours that they're required to here. So how do you kind of make it so that there's still a legit opportunity for them to be included in the program, no matter what their skill level, but also that there's some expectations that come along with that, just coming out to join and have fun or learn something new?
We have that issue right now. We have a lot of participation, but those kids who want to come just do or have the CAS hours, we just make sure that they are in it for the right reasons, right? Obviously, CAS is a huge part of it. And it seems to happen in the spring season a lot, where they just want to come out for a little bit. And so we tell them that if they're not fully committed, that we're not going to be counting those hours towards CAS. So it's just has to be that communication, open and honest. And, I think once they figure out that it's something that they're going to enjoy, it becomes less of an issue. But, what you're talking about, Matt, in terms of the giving kids an opportunity to be beginners or be really good at something, we truly just try to differentiate the learning, right? We do that in the classroom. So this is a lot the same, not a lot of differences. It's definitely hard, and depending on your program, facilities obviously are a huge part of what opportunities you can give and can't give kids. We have good facilities, but we've had to go outside of our school to find facilities because our participation is way up. And we don't want that to be a limiting factor as to why someone wouldn't be able to participate.
Matt, I've found that recently it's been more of an issue with budget cuts because of COVID and decreased enrollment numbers, things like that. It's become a little bit more troublesome. So some of those issues preventing the multi-inclusive program where we allow all the kids who want to participate to be involved, I've enlisted the help of student athletes to be student coaches down at the younger levels, which has really, really helped. We don't have CAS here because we're not an IB school. So they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. And I always try to encourage them that, once you coach, you become a better student athlete yourself. So that's one way that we've been able to jump that budget cut issue. Facilities, like Chris said, is always an issue. You have to do some creative scheduling. We're doing a lot of stuff in the mornings before school, which is going to be very difficult now that we're about ready to start Ramadan. But you just got to be creative, be understanding. Try to be flexible. I mean, we always are flexible as ADs. Another big issue that I've found over the years working at multiple international schools, trying to create these models that Mike talked about that we did in Shanghai, is the buy-in from the community. And that's the parent community, that's the student community, that's the administration, because a lot of times schools and the communities around them see success as wins and losses. And we as ADs, we know that's not the case. That's not what we determine as a successful program. So those are some of the main hurdles that we've had to face.
And well, for anyone out there, they may not remember that these 6 courses came because they were considered hot topics, and there was some polling of ADs of what kind of topics they wanted to talk about. So why do you guys think that this topic is such a main topic or a hot topic for ADs out there?
I think Todd just hit it on the head when he was talking about all the outside influences that are involved in an international school. all the different places people come from. So it's really important. I think we really, throughout the course, we'll be talking about ADs making sure they're very clear on their purpose of the athletic program, the activities program, so that they can push that out, and the buy-in that Todd's talking about that you need to get, so that everybody's on the same page. So you don't have the parent in the stands yelling because Johnny didn't get to do something, or you have, so there are almost too many things I could talk about that go wrong in youth sports that get pulled in because of a win at all costs culture.
Right.
And I think that we face that, whatever league you're in, whatever level you're at, however big your school is, you always have those pushes and pulls. Right. And so this is a way to develop your program, be very comfortable that it hits what you want it to hit. And then you can basically stand up and say, hey, this is what we do here. This is how we do it. And this is why we do it. So this is the direction we're going.
It's almost hard for an international school to be a win at all cost type of place, with the transient nature of everyone moving in and out. And you never know from year to year what your team's like or what the competition's like. It's almost hard to really try to win all the time. I mean, of course, you try to win when you're out there, but you know what I mean? I think, but being inclusive and trying to win, I mean, there's different levels, right? So I think some schools may be struggling within, having a cut policy or a no cut policy, but still trying to, let's say, manage the facilities that you have and not overburden the coach could be something a school wrestles with.
I call that the catching lightning in a bottle phenomena in the international school sports world, because you get lucky, you get some kids who arrive to your school and they have some kind of experience in a particular sport, or maybe they played at a club level back home where they're coming from, and they catch onto your team, and they can actually be a big boon. But yeah, it's again, finding that balance and what's best for your kids.
Yeah, and in terms of balance, the thing you don't, and we often see when the discussion goes towards inclusivity, that doesn't mean we don't try and help kids be as good as they want and can be. And that's the tricky part. Yeah. How do you develop a program that helps those kids and helps the kids who have more realistic expectations of why they're involved? Right. And if you don't have, if you're not in a huge school, those kids are sometimes on the same team. So how do you manage that? And we talk about, having different roles for different people, different expectations, going towards leadership with your kid that's already way skilled better than those kids during practice time, giving them outside stuff to work on, helping the kid that doesn't have the skill to play a lot, to focus in on what he does bring to the game. And then just talking about like that whole, what is success? That's where it all comes back to. Todd will come back to this every single time. And, it's not, the wins and losses aren't the thing. Teaching life lessons, growing people of character, helping students develop in a positive direction, having participation, having kids involved in activity. How many? That's success rates.
Yeah. And I think you're, depending on your school location or your league affiliation, I think your league affiliation is really helpful in determining your school's philosophy or structure, how you're going to do things. Like there's a league expectation, of course, in a lot of our situations, and making sure that's understood throughout your program, what the kids are getting themselves into, is super helpful too.
So my 4 years here at the American School of The Hague, when I left these two guys in Shanghai, and I'd say they both had a big influence on me in terms of this concept. I walked into a program that was cutting kids from U12 all the way up. And our teams weren't very successful in terms of winning. And in the 4 years, when I first got here, there's 36 coaching positions, and now we have 86 coaching positions. And that's because we just, we weren't going to cut anybody in the middle school, and then that's moved up to the high school. And so the school has been very fantastic about supporting participation. And our teams are now a little bit more successful on the playing field because we've given kids opportunities to learn and grow and develop, and they just have continued to move up. So it's possible. And we still have some good teams that are competitive and athletes that, are wanting to push themselves just like they would in the classroom. Yeah. But we're also giving those kids an opportunity that, before they wouldn't have had. And yeah, just it's just continued to blossom. So it's a good problem and a bad problem, because I've created a monster that, now I need a lot of coaches. I need even more facilities. And so it's a tricky place, but it's one that, if we're talking about life lessons, like we're giving kids way more opportunities than they were given before. And so that's why I'm kind of excited about this class. And again, Mike and Todd showed me a lot of things in Shanghai that helped me grow within that concept. And, Mike was doing a lot of cool things he was at a smaller school, and his teams weren't as successful on the court necessarily in wins and losses, but they were doing things that their kids were super excited about, winning pizzas and all that kind of fun stuff, because they were rallying on the volleyball court. And, he's been a true champion of this for a long time. And so I just really appreciate being able to work with him to make this happen. So thanks, Mike.
I love Chris to death, but I got to say, like my first memory of Chris is in Shanghai, where my girls basketball team was playing his in the finals. So yeah, I remember a lot of successes for the SCIS Pudong team.
All right. I don't remember. I think you won.
I want to defuse this. Now you two stop fighting. We had some.
It was at Todd's gym. That's where it was.
We had some wonderful times in Shanghai. The three of us and all of our other colleagues working together. I think one of the best outcomes to the program that Chris is referring to in the development. I was fortunate to do this in Bangkok when I was at Ramrudi International School for 4 years. Was the amount of school spirit that the increased enrollment, involvement in athletics brings. It brings with it that culture of sport and athletics and pride in whoever you are, a scorpion, a phoenix, an eagle, a tiger, whatever it is, that outcome of kids getting an opportunity to be in athletics that traditionally haven't been, they have a pride in it. Yeah. And it really brings a community together. It's an amazing experience when that happens.
That's great. That's great. All three of you guys, the way to champion that, because it's not just about results. You might think, okay, we'll keep an extra. We won't cut anyone in the middle school because maybe they'll help us compete as a high schooler. If they keep playing. But it's not even about that. It's about the atmosphere then around the middle school when you have all these athletes and all these people get to play for their school, and
and we've talked about this before, but it's worth mentioning with this context. When you talk about alumni connecting back to schools, their international schools and their times there, and sports and activities is always at the top of the list from what I've seen, or video interviews they've done with these folks. It's just great to hear that, because you've provided a solid experience for those kids, and they've had great memories of their time here and playing sports and going on the trips and doing the tournaments and all that. So that's a huge part of our schools. Yeah.
Well, Matt, I'm going to steal your line, because for 4 times you've said this line, but I'm taking it. We don't want to give the whole course away because we still want people to take the course. But as we get near the end, guys, guys, can you tell us maybe what you think the biggest takeaway is for someone that would take this course?
I think what I hope an AD that attends the course walks away from the course with is a concrete understanding of where they fall on what they want out of their program, and that whatever it is, wherever they are on the spectrum, no matter what challenges and obstacles are presented, they feel like they have the tools to make it happen. That's what I hope someone who leaves the course ends up with.
That's great. That's great. What's something else, Todd? What do you think?
I think Mike hit it right on the bald head there. Sorry, I'm throwing stones. I want people that take the course to walk away with not only an understanding, but a confidence in that maybe what they're doing can be improved, and that here are some tools to do that. And here are some people, here are the resources, and here are the professionals who have done it. I think that's one of the biggest things. And I know you guys have spoke about this many, many times on your podcast, the networking that these conferences and these workshops provide is the biggest thing, because I know I can pick up the phone, or I can call Chris or Mike or whoever, Kathy or Sharon or Steve Dolman or anybody that I know, and I can ask their advice, and they can help me through those things, because we're alone in our buildings. We're the only AD in our schools, but we have a network of colleagues that we can trust. And if they can walk away with the reason why I want to improve and know that there are people out there to help them, that's the best thing.
That's great, Todd. You can never say it enough. And look at you three guys now. Chris, you're in a new place. You're not in their region anymore, but you're still working together, and I'm sure that'll continue wherever you find yourself next. Yeah. What about you? Anything else? Any big takeaway for you, Chris, or did they?
Yeah, for me, it's one of the reasons that kids stop playing sports is they stop having fun, and just to make sure that whatever your program looks like, that kids are having fun while they're doing it. Yeah. You could be winning games, losing games, but you've defined what success and winning looks like at your school and in your program and on your team, and that kids are embracing that and striving to become the best version of themselves, and all that while having fun. At the end of the day, we want to have as much fun as possible. Of course, winning is fun, but again, how are you defining that winning? So I think as people get together and listen to what we put together and have conversations, at the end of the day, we're doing this for kids. And I think that if we have that outlook as what's best for them, that, your program will be successful.
Coach Evaluator is the premier coach evaluation software for schools and athletic organizations and preferred coach evaluation solution of the NIAAA and the Positive Coaching Alliance. The system is completely customizable with an always growing evaluation template library for athletic directors to reference. There are not only evaluations for ADs to use, but also self-evaluations and parent-player evaluations of coaches. Learn more about digitizing and simplifying your coach evaluation process by visiting www.coachevaluator.com. Mention Globetrottin ADs to receive a $200 discount on the yearly rate.
Kukri are a global multi-sport clothing brand specializing in providing the world's most prestigious schools with bespoke made and designed team uniforms for students of all standards and abilities. If you are frustrated by inconsistent colors, branding, costs, and sizing across your school's uniforms, then it's time to discuss an offering where every sport is available from softball to soccer for male and female athletes at rates to suit your budget. To find out how Kukri could elevate the apparel of your student athletes to a professional level, email the team at contact@kukrisports.com. A dedicated sales manager will offer you a quote today. Mention this ad and receive a special offer on your coach or PE staff order.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for giving us an overview of this section of 910. Great stuff. A great hot topic. And I think this is applicable to most schools, no matter how big or small, that they can definitely take something away and think about what can this provide for them to give them some structure, some ideas to create a program that works for their school and for their kids. All right. So before we head out, we have a good representation here of folks from around the world. We're represented with Europe, Middle East, and of course, Asia. So we always like to close the show out by asking our guests the city they are currently living in, what's something great about it, or maybe something that's good to come and see and check out, whether it's food, whether it's a site, whether it's something to do. So let's start with Chris, The Hague, since you're going to be departing. What's been the highlight for you of your life there in The Hague, or what should somebody check out and see if they make it there?
Yeah, sure. The Netherlands is fantastic. Nature is amazing. They have amazing bike paths. I think they take better care of their bike paths than they do their roads, and the roads are some of the best I've ever driven on in the world. I live 5 kilometers from the beach, so it's kind of nice to be able to take the dog out there and just stroll around. And right now, all the flowers are coming out. So the tulips have started. We get. Well, hopefully they're going to get millions of visitors again to come to the famous Keukenhof farms and see the tulips. We steal a lot of other countries' cuisines, I guess, but potatoes are a big thing, like their fries here. But you don't have to go too far and you get to Belgian beers and all that kind of stuff. So, but I would say nature's been the biggest part, having come from Shanghai, of green city there, mostly not green city, to nature here and just, pollution, that's the no pollution, and just, that's the best part. Nature's the best part.
All right, moving east, Todd.
All right. Well, I'll tell you that probably the biggest thing for me is the Jordanian people themselves. There is not a single Jordanian person that I've met who hasn't been warm, welcoming, just a wonderful, wonderful person. That being said, they're horrible drivers. I got to tell you, horrible drivers. And then also the history. I mean, my goodness, I am here in the cradle of humanity where it all started. Like, you'd be driving down the highway and there'll be a sign, Jesus Christ baptismal site, next right. You got Petra, and you've got the Dead Sea and the Red Sea, and just, it's amazing how much history, having lived in Shanghai and being there as Shanghai developed and grew, there's not a lot of real history in that city. But here in Amman and in Jordan specifically, amazing history and wonderful people.
Great. All right, Dhaka, bring us home.
Just listening to Todd, I was like, a different kind of plug before I get to Dhaka. What a great career win, right? Like, I go visit Todd's school and I can do all those history things there. Like the fact that we can move around and go to all these places and have that kind of life, and our kids can do that, is just absolutely amazing. For Dhaka, the diversity between the three of us is quite amazing. This is a developing country. It is definitely full of UN-supported NGOs and those kinds of things going on. If you want a place where you want to come for a little while and do some really good work helping people, this is a great place and has lots of people doing that. The school does a really good job trying to be involved in that as well. As a person working here, what kind of makes this place different than others I've kind of seen is we have what we call a club life. Everything here is run out of, because there's not as much, there are restaurants and things, but there's not a nightlife as much, whereas the US Embassy, the Australian Embassy, the Dutch Embassy, like every night of the week, they're putting on something special. So that club life, everybody congregates there, and you end up with a really close connection with a lot of people from all crosses of, like, from ambassadors to like someone working in the Rohingya immigrant camps. Like, all those people are together all the time. So really tight connection, which is fun.
That's pretty cool. That's special. I always wondered, people always say that I'm at this club, or I'm at the embassy club, or the U.S. Embassy Club. And I think the only kind of place like that in Austria would be the Würstelstand, where you can go get a sausage on the street at all hours of the night and stand beside, a multimillionaire beside the homeless guy, all having a sausage. Bit different, but similar. Yeah. Well, guys, that's great. Thanks for just that great finish of the cities, but of course all your work on the course and being on the pod to talk about it today. And I think so far this is my favorite course of the 5 we've talked about. Looking forward to taking it.
Not that
don't
it's
let
a
me
competition.
Down. No, not yet.
We're all winners.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were at the national conference this year, guys. Mike, Chris, we were the Golden Boys. Our section was highlighted several times. I just have to say,
it was the graphics. I'm pretty sure it was Mike's graphics that blew everybody away. Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and good luck the rest of the way for this school year this spring. And we look forward to seeing you guys again somewhere down the road at a conference or some function where we can all get together one more time. So until then, take care, and thanks for joining us.
Until next week, this has been another episode of the Globetrottin ADs.